Call us, Your Honor. Save you a seat.
He didn't have front row. They tried to get us to know you guys are working.
Yeah, he's got a spot for us.
Okay, that's why I didn't tell anybody.
Go Tribe.
Okay, I will call this meeting in special order for Tuesday, August 23rd, 2018. Please join me in the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Join me in a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask you to give us the wisdom to do what's in the best interest of those we represent. As always, we ask you to have special protection over those who are serving us and protecting our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen. Amen. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Accept the motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from August 14th.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Any adjustments to the agenda?
I have nothing.
I've got one scheduling thing I want to talk about nowadays.
Scheduling, okay. And we have a proclamation to read, and also I wanted to talk about founding in the county event that was coming up. So scheduling, Commissioner John.
At the FF&E request from Judge Meyer, I want to bring up,
Okay.
and then I do need an executive session purchase of properties.
All right, Shane, go ahead.
It's been brought to my attention that Christmas is on a Tuesday, so obviously we won't be meeting then.
Well, at least you didn't do what Commissioner Zoller did, said that we're gonna cancel Christmas.
Well, we do have Christmas Eve the day before, and I just wonder if we want to have county offices open on that day, work half day, make a countywide policy, let it up to the elected. It was brought to my attention, and we should have a conversation about it. So.
Our policy is that we get a half a day off for Christmas Eve, and some of the offices have their employees use the additional 4 hours and close for that day. They just have to make sure they announce it. We've tried to have the full day closed with other departments, and then they've come and asked the board, well, are you gonna pay for it? So the employees didn't have to use their time, but we get half a day for Christmas Eve, full day for Christmas Day, so.
Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. Well, thinking ahead then, obviously if Christmas is on a Tuesday, the 1st of January is on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, do we typically just have the first meeting of the year on the 8th at that point?
I think we usually did, we waited till that first, what was
think
that,
the
great
reorganization-
required Monday.
Yeah, it says the second.
On or before.
Yeah, on
It's
before.
On or before the second Monday.
Second.
So the second Monday would be as late as possible.
The 14th.
Right. Well, so we ought to have a meeting probably on the 8th though,
We can
right?
do that.
Yea or nay? Okay. So we could do the reorganization meeting theoretically on the 8th, on or before, right? We should have time to prepare everything by then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that would be changed, we'll cancel, obviously, cancel the meeting. on
Answer the
8th.
question about that.
Yeah, if that's, I mean, it's not gonna be the most productive time to have people coming in 4
No.
hours on a Monday
Like,
before Christmas.
Commissioner's office, we usually close that day. We usually take 4 hours of our personal time, vacation time, and we usually close that day. But there were some offices that just choose that they didn't want to close just because, you know, people get off that day, they want to come in and do work at the county, so.
Okay, and you have something from Judge Meyer?
Yes, we had asked juvenile probate court to like do an inventory on their furniture and kind of give us an idea of what they're gonna need for furniture. They've been working really hard on it. They do have a lot of furniture that they've taken from the common pleas and the clerk of courts. So he submitted, and I think I emailed it to you, the quote. One of the things that got kind of not pricey, but the digital recording system that we didn't anticipate. They're using some of Common Pleas, but because it was so outdated, they're asking to, update it. They're still gonna use some of the stuff, but they need to do like 3 upgrades to it. But the total, including all that equipment, the signage, the furniture, it's about 71,000. We do have it in the line already because the bids came in lower, so I wouldn't have to move anything, but I did wanna, talk about it, make sure that you guys had a chance to look at it, and if you had any questions or comments.
So you don't need a motion from us at this point?
As long as you guys are okay with it, then I'll just we'll get the certificate around, because there's already money in the line.
Yeah, I looked over what you'd sent us last week, and I thought they aren't gonna be asking for something they don't need, and long as the money was already in place, it wasn't asking for additional unexpected
Right.
expectations or anything.
Judge Meyer and his common pleas or his juvenile probate have been extremely cooperative overall. This no longer work themselves, so I appreciate all their effort. I'm just fine with it.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, we did the renovation on the annex, and we didn't have a F&E budget because we didn't know what furniture was going to be left when the other judges moved over to the newly built portion of the Justice Center. And so Judge Meyer has been very frugal. In fact, he and one of his staff got in a tugging match over chairs that were in the dumpsters. So we had, Chairgate continues, so this kind of exonerates me from that. But, so they've been very frugal and have done a great job of reutilizing and moving everything that they possibly can to save taxpayer money. So we appreciate that.
Okay, I mentioned last week, I wanted to re-announce that we do have an event. Saturday is going to be quite a busy day in downtown Tiffin. They have the around the town, all the college kids come in, and all the local stores kind of show their wares, and the kids get acclimated to Tiffin, Ohio. There's also a farmer's market. There's also a concert at 8 o'clock at the East Green. In addition to that, we're doing what is being called Bounty of the County. That is collecting non-food and food items to be dispersed amongst some shelters for people that need them. The van or the truck will be in this parking lot from 8 until 8 on Saturday. So anyone who has any items they'd like to drop off, that'd be great. They'll be dispersed. So I hope as many people as possible can participate and bring some things. We do need some help from 4 o'clock p.m. until 8 o'clock p.m. So if anybody has the time, would like to volunteer a half hour, an hour to help load the truck and take things out of people's cars, that would be great. So that is this Saturday, August 25th, in the Commissioner's parking lot right next to us, from 9 a.m., I said 8, excuse me, from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's co-sponsored with the Seneca County Homeless Coalition in partnership with the City Schools, the Kiwanis, WSOS, Department of Jobs and Family Services, and the Commissioners.
Stacy, were you able to get confirmation that we're going to be able to make the cupola school colors of the universities?
Yes, we're working on that.
Okay.
I think we're
Technical
He's going to be testing it this week, so if people see colors changing, we're going to do like Tiffin University, and then like 15 minutes or half an hour later, it's going to switch to Heidelberg, and then
that'd be
back to
great.
Tiffin University. So we're working with the program. I met him yesterday, so
Blue and yellow.
we're
make
hoping
green.
it's gonna work. It's just some different programming we're not used to. We're used to just leaving it one color, and but so we're working on. Hopefully it'll work. So if you see it this week, changing colors,
Right.
that's why.
So this weekend, it's town to gown, and the university presidents will walk the students into the center of town to create that atmospheric connection to the downtown. So it's an important time to welcome the students back.
We had a citizen in the county do something extraordinary in an emergency situation, and therefore we would like to issue a proclamation. The individuals couldn't be here today, but I'd like to read it. It says, whereas the Board of Directors of the Sunday County Commissioners would like to give recognition and appreciation to Mr. and Mrs. Don Kleinfelter for their courageousness and selflessness on the day of July 30th, 2018. Whereas on July 30th, Mr. and Mrs. Kleinfelder helped keep children safe until EMS arrived and helped in the efforts to remove a victim during an accident that occurred on Bloom Township Road 12. Now therefore be it resolved that this Board of Commissioners, Seneca County, Ohio, be, and it does hereby recognize the effort and strength of Mr. and Mrs. Don Kleinfelder. In witness hereof, we, the Board of Seneca County Commissioners, have hereunto set our hand to this proclamation this 28th day of August in the year of our Lord 2017. So,
Should be
18.
I know it. But anyways, that's the proclamation. A special effort on the part of some citizens, and we thank them for that. We ought to recognize that. Okay, any other
Nice.
old business? Hearing none, let's do the supplemental
New business?
appropriations.
New business, we have the Nikki's
Oh, I'm sorry,
special
special
session
session,
on.
yes, August 30th. That
That
is,
was Blanchard.
Yeah, that's that Blanchard Valley ditch. They wanna do the hearing on the 30th at 1:30 because that's when all the other
Oh.
counties are able to be available. I don't think it'll take,
what day, yeah, it's
That's a
Thursday.
Thursday, okay, very good.
so if you guys are okay with that, I'll
Yep.
email her that.
All right,
That's fine.
okay, now let's,
Now. Okay, I have a supplement to the permit appropriations to the general fund. This is at the request of juvenile probate court. When we did budgets at the beginning of the year, the end of last year, we authorized 3% raises for the employees. Due to some changes in juvenile probate's budget because of the grant that had went away, their 3% wasn't put in their line for their raises. So that's what these 3 or 4 is the salary line for $14,112.32. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the general fund for the PRS, $1,975.72. And also for the Medicare, $204.63. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the general fund. This is for the loan, Justice Center loan repayment. I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago that it was gonna come due at the end of December. So we need to put money in place. So we're putting the $50,000 into our loan payment line. They are creating a fund. I think I have a resolution in here too. They have to create a fund for that too, so we'll be moving that money. A resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the Public Assistance Fund. They're moving $3,077.57. It's like to the transfers out line. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the Public Assistance Fund. They are moving $10,000 from contract services to advertising. This is to provide outreach services for the citizens of Seneca County. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation to the Workforce Investment Act Fund for $5,000 into other expense, and this is for to allow the Workforce Investment Fund to pay for services for the annual manufacturing showcase for the employees and youth of Seneca County. And I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the general fund. This is putting $121,545 into transfers out. This will go to the roofs. We talked about it at the last board session. Initially, we talked about replacing section 8 and maybe just doing a repair. After board, I talked to John, and John said, you know, if the board's willing to replace it, he definitely feels that that second section 3 needs replaced instead of repaired. He was just trying to get us by, since we had one big roof to do, you know, just trying to get us by, but, you know, if the board felt. So I went ahead and put these in, so I figured I'd read them if you guys are okay with that. So that's for the 2 roofs. And then the next one is the transfer for that money to the capital improvement fund. And then in the capital improvement fund, doing a supplemental appropriation to the jail line, again for the $121,545. I have a resolution authorizing a sub-grant agreement with Area 7 on behalf of the Seneca County Department of Job and Family Services, authorizing Mike Kirschner to sign as president. And I have a resolution creating the loan replacement fund, fund number 1314. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Move that we accept.
I'm second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas, could you maybe next month or sometime in the next few weeks go over the investment portfolio? Put that on the agenda so everybody knows kind of where we're at from a total asset standpoint when it comes to cash. I think we did that once last year. So when's your next meeting, do you know?
We just had one last Tuesday.
Okay, good, so you'll have some relatively current information. So if we could put that on the agenda for next time. Okay, we do have an executive session to talk about some property, but let's have an open session at this point before we do that, so we don't keep folks. Any public comment today? Yes, Mr. Feasel.
Near the end of the last meeting, we had a kind of a discussion on this AEZ. Got a little heated, and some people were accused of misleading, and kind of take that seriously. So went back, did research, made sure nothing I said was misleading, and found out that it wasn't. But in the process of that research, we found out there has been some major misleading going on for months in this room and other places when the subject comes up. So I made some notes, and I want to read them because I don't want to get anything wrong. I don't want to be misleading. It's been stated by Mr. Thomas and Mrs. Stacy repeatedly for the past several months that the pilot programs for both Republic and Seneca Wind Project have already been approved because the AEZ is in place. But we made a call to the Development Director of Ohio, talked to the Chief Associate, the man in charge of all of this for Ohio, high as you can go, and he revealed the fact that no wind project from Seneca County has even completed the steps at their office to become qualified for a pilot. And therefore, no pilot can be approved at this point by any method. So we didn't want any misleading, so we went right to the source. So based on that, it becomes crystal clear now, like I said last week, that this board has full power to either refuse or approve at the proper time in the future the pilots for Republic and Seneca Wind projects. Since the approval or refusal of the pilot tax break has always meant the success or failure of a project moving into Ohio County, this board therefore has the de facto power to decide if these projects will be built or not be built. So the question is, with this information, the clock has been rolled back, we're back before anything has been approved. How do the members of the board plan to proceed with that? I have some suggestions, but we'll let things sink in first.
We have a legal opinion that's different than that. I would be happy to share.
Higher than this source.
Well, our legal, I'd be happy to share that. Mike, would you be willing to go along with waiving privilege so we can share that with Mr. Feasel?
Sure.
Yeah. So we'll send that to you.
Sure.
That's it on this topic. I would suggest that your legal opinion cannot be right if he's trying to overrule the man in charge in Ohio, in charge of all of it.
But it sounds like we might need a point of clarification
I
on,
think that's pretty clear, isn't it?
I was gonna finish my statement.
Okay.
So, I mean, let's make it crystal clear here. I know we've had a couple of conversations, but at some point in the future, when the process gets to the point of pre-construction or ready for construction, we will receive a request to sign a certificate for the pilot program. At that point in time, we have no obligation to sign that. We could make a motion that said, no, we want to negotiate the taxes differently, or we don't want to be able to sign the pilot, or we refuse to sign the pilot program. And you can do with that what you will, but that's our decision at that point. So as you say, we then have kind of a convoluted authority to either accept or reject the project, because those that don't have a pilot program probably will not have it.
You have the authority, you can do it, because it takes two motions, one to rescind the AEZ, one to approve or disapprove the pilot. So the power is here. How and when do you plan on verifying my information?
I have verified, I mean, I've read it, I believe that that's absolutely true. I have always said, from day one, that we could rescind the pilot and the AEZ. Legal opinion aside, I've spoken with the OPS, the Ohio Power Siting Board, and also Department of Taxation, and also read the codifications. And I believe that what you're telling me is correct.
Do Holly and Shane have any further comment? Because there's been some major misdirection, intentionally or unintentionally. I'm not saying anything's intentional, but regardless, there's been some major.
The last thing
misdirection.
I would say on this is that we're relying on a legal opinion, and I'm happy to share that with you with everybody's blessing, and that there's no effort to rescind the AEZ, so the question becomes academic.
Not really, because now that the people here know that the power is here, you've deflected that all summer. The power is not here, the power is not here, the power is not here. The power is here. And the people came with full voice when they thought there was no chance of having any effect. Now they know their voice could mean something big. So I would expect the heat, if you stand on that position of not rescinding the AEZ and just letting things ride through the course, the heat is going to get very intense.
The understanding of what the pilot payment is, there was nothing unintentional. I mean,
No, I'm not saying it was
I don't know,
intentional.
I'm just
But
stating.
it happened, it is a fact that it happened.
But the understanding of what the pilot payment is set up for us with this wind energy project is capped at the 9,000, and that's the amount, and that's how we prepared examples of what that might mean in the tax stream coming into whom and those kinds of things. So it was always on the assumption of this project, this given date and time, this number of turbines, megawatts, etc. So there was nothing, I'm trying to be misleading about anything there,
No.
and
I won't
the
say you did as
alternative
much as Shane did, but Shane repeated to everybody, over and over and over, that rescinding the AEZ would have no effect on these projects, could not affect these projects. And I'm not saying it was intentional, I'm not a mind reader, mind reading is not a thing. But that's what happened.
they should have to read the legal opinion that we'll share with you.
Stacy, will you make that available? Thank you.
Well, and I think it has to be said without, it's certainly noteworthy, that, under the pilot program, which was accepted in October of 2011, we guaranteed $9,000 a megawatt, and we're guaranteeing that into the life of the project, which could be 20 to 30 years, according to the calculations made by the energy companies. I don't know of any other situation, none, where we would guarantee someone an expense at a rate established in 2011 into the future for 30 years. Wouldn't it be great if somebody guaranteed you that they'll give you your gallon of gas at the price it was in 2011 for the next 30 years? Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? The question here is, from the pilot program, how much money are we leaving on the table? Even if these projects occur, we can't, in good fiscal conscience, allow for a fixed rate over a period that amounts to almost 40 years. The project being 30, and it's almost 10 years ago when it was established. This is just not logical. And certainly not fair to our constituents to pick winners and losers in the energy field.
So then, commissioners who say they want to do what's best for the county would not stick with the $9,000 pilot, they would rescind.
I certainly wouldn't do that. I certainly want to, if these projects happen by some chance, I certainly want to renegotiate whatever that was. Just as landowners are negotiating substations, landowners are negotiating leases for their land, good neighbor agreements range anywhere from $500 to $1,500 from what I have understood. Landowners are getting paid various prices for their plots of land. Landowners are getting paid various prices for their substations. They're able to negotiate those. The ones that have done their job and got counsel and got bigger numbers, why wouldn't we, as a political subdivision, want to negotiate whatever that rate was? Why would we take a fixed rate established in 2011 and guarantee it for the next 30 years? What sense does that make to anybody? If I'm missing something, please tell me. Yes, Chris.
Chris Eicholtz, Bloom Township. Last week, Shane, as Jim mentioned, you specifically called him out. He's correct. I mean, you can say you have a legal opinion. I don't know why we can't. Can we share that amongst everyone here?
We will.
Why we can't?
We'll post it. We'll post the opinion. I think that we've all said it's okay. I didn't hear Holly say it. I want to make
That's
sure.
fine. I'm fine.
Okay. So we'll post it on the website.
I mean, can you give us the Cliff Notes version of it, or? I mean, we're all here, we're all wanting to know why you can't.
May
Read it, Mike.
Holly, please. Start.
May 8th, 2018, the Honorable Commissioners of Seneca County, our address via email only, alternative energy zone questions. Recently, Commissioner Thomas presented our office with some questions regarding the October 18th, 2011 resolution of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners designating the county as an alternative energy zone. Specifically, the questions presented were as follows. By passing the resolution, did Seneca County accept all applications filed pursuant to the AEZ? Yes. The resolution was passed designating the county as an AEZ, which by its own terms approved all applications submitted. Number 2, what is the amount of money payable to the county general fund pursuant to the resolutions and the Ohio Revised Code from such projects? The resolution establishes an annual payment in lieu of taxes. Said provision is allowed by the Ohio Revised Code, Section 5727.75. The resolution states that the quote-unquote base service payments will be paid according to the voted millage for that particular district, and that additional service payments will be dispersed as decided by the Board of Commissioners upon acceptance of the project. 3, can Seneca County revoke the resolution? Yes, Seneca County Commissioners may rescind the October 18, 2011 resolution. However, all applications that have been filed prior to the rescission will not be affected by the change and would still be considered approved. If you have any additional questions or concerns regarding the matter, please contact our office at your earliest convenience. Sincerely, Derek W. Devine.
I had asked him that same question at about that same time period and got a one-sentence answer, which was, these would be in. But there's no way that a company can be granted a pilot when they are not qualified for a pilot. When they're talking about when the application comes in, they are not ready to send that application and you have not received that yet. That you should have a document here if you did, and it would say that this is a qualified energy project. Then they're eligible for a pilot, then the AEZ grants them the pilot. But this Director of Development in Ohio is the man in charge for that, and he says that neither company has even started the process as of Friday noon to become qualified. Therefore, there is no way that you could have received any application that would have made that kick in.
Dalton, do you have anything to add to that?
Sure, I do. So it's standard practice in the wind industry to submit our application to confirm the AEZ just before construction. So this isn't something that we do beforehand, generally because it's not, one of those movers and shakers style situations. It's more of a formality at the end of the day, given that we have the AEZ in place. It's an acknowledgement that we've developed the project and we've gone through the OPSB process.
But it's just so matter of fact that at this moment your timing is off, and even you have, I think, confirmed that the AEZ brings these in and it couldn't be changed if the AEZ was rescinded, that it would have no effect. I've heard Apex people say that, and until this is qualified, which process has not been started. I mean, this is a separate process from the Power Siting Board. The Power Siting Board's over here, they look at your plans, look at everything. you go over here and get qualified, more or less qualified for a pilot. That process has not started for Apex or S-Power.
And again, I would iterate the same answer I gave you a moment ago. However, we submitted our project application to the OPSB with the county AEZ in place. And so I'd iterate the opinion that their attorney has.
Nothing in the law that states that that would matter.
Zero.
Dalton, has there been any situations in which you have submitted an application during the period of time that you submitted it that the county has rescinded the AEZ? And what have been the results of that?
I don't think I have a good reference for that.
Was there a project in Van Wert that was submitted and
By the time we had developed the project, we never submitted an application for the project in Benworth, so that wouldn't apply.
while there was a pending project, the AEZ was revoked there, rescinded?
There was a project in which we had leased land. We hadn't gone all the way to power siting board to submit an application.
Was there any litigation over that?
No.
Yes, Chris?
I asked this individual on the phone, his chief assistant to the director, if the AEZ being in place at this point in time and where these two projects sit, if it would have any impact to be grandfathered in or anything of that sort. And he said, no, they still have to become a qualified energy project with us before any pilot or anything is grandfathered or guaranteed to them. And I've asked for this in writing, and when I have this in writing, I will present it to you guys, because it's the way the law states, when you read the law.
All right, so it's a formality, but they're moving forward, and we as a county in good faith have the AEZ in place, and they have to follow the steps if this is accurate, which I'm not saying it's not. You know, they start moving forward, and when the appropriate time comes, whatever filing is done, and things continue. I mean, you don't,
I understand that.
it's kind of like
Well,
us when we discuss, somebody has an idea on this board and brings it up, and if they get the feeling that the majority of the board is not interested in that particular topic, it pretty much goes away because we know you don't have the support for it. We've indicated in all things that there's support by the actions of the previous boards, and since that time, that we're open for this form of economic development in our rural areas of Seneca County.
We're under the understanding that you two are for the projects. We get that. That's not Jim and I's point. Our point is, like Shane as early or as late as last week said, go to Columbus. This decision's not here. I get it. We're here. We're easy to get to. Yeah, you are, and that's why we're here. We get that you're pro-wind. We get that you want the projects. What we're trying to get you to acknowledge is the fact that you do have the power today to rescind the AEZ, and when the time comes, what?
We've known that, we had the power to rescind the AEZ.
That's not what you guys, well, we knew that you
We
knew
knew
that,
we
but
did,
you.
we just
but-
strongly believed because of this opinion that it would not
Okay,
change the two
I
projects
understand
that
that,
are
but my
contentious.
point is you have deflected all of us to go to Columbus. You have told us that these projects are already accepted under the AEZ. That is not true. We're telling you that's not true. So we're trying to put that back on you. You guys, this is your decision. If you guys rescind the AEZ today, or whenever, and you decline the pilot to accept the pilot, these projects probably are going away. So I want it to be clear, and Jim wants it to be clear, is that you guys have the power to stop these projects, should you want to. We understand you don't want to, but we want it to be clear to everyone, and in the paper, and everyone understands that it isn't a state thing. It's you guys. You guys have the power to stop it.
I disagree.
How do you disagree?
I disagree.
Explain why you disagree. If you disagree, you have a reason.
I disagree.
Do you agree that you misled us
No.
at all? You don't think you misled any
No,
of
I'm
us?
standing on a legal opinion, Chris. We've talked about this enough. I'm done. There's nothing else to talk about here. I'm not going to rescind the AEZ.
We're gonna talk about this for a
Every
long
week.
time, Shane. A long
This ain't
time.
going
I
away.
motion that we go into executive session.
So, second, for the purposes of
Property
property.
acquisition.
Any discussion? Okay. All right, we're into executive session.